So I'm going to share my desktop. All right. Are you guys able to see the screen? All right. So whatever that we discussed yesterday, everything is clear. I mean, do you have any doubts or questions? In the first project that we have created, we have used Selenium RC. Yesterday, we haven't gone through WebDriver yet. We are just in a phase of building your base for automation. So whatever Java topics that we are going to cover, we are going to cover within RC itself. So if you don't have any questions from yesterday's session, so we can move to the next topic today. All right, I don't see any question from anyone. So in that case, we can move to the next topic. So we're going to study some Java basics today, right? Because there are some people in the group who are familiar with Java basics, but there are some other people as well who are very beginner to the programming language, right? Although I have already forwarded a few Java videos to everyone to clear the base. I mean, if they need any help in Java, they can refer those videos. So I'm not going to cover very basic examples, but still I'll be covering some of the examples which we need in which we need in order to automate our application, right? So Priyanka is asking, are we going to use Ant build tool? Yes, we will be using Ant as well. Ant will be used in order to generate reports. So that we will be using when we learn JUnit and Testng. All right, so I'm going to create a new class. So I'll give this class name as, let's say, test loop. So in this class, we are going to learn some loops. Loops as in while loop, for loop. So these are very basic loops. You might be aware of all these loops, but in our Selenium examples, we are going to use this, right? So if you are familiar with this, then just follow this. And I mean, what we are going to start from the very beginning is that, let's say I need to print the number from 1 to 10, right? So I will be printing the number from 1 to 10 using the while loop first, and then I will be using the for loop. So how to print a number from 1 to 10? I believe most of you might be knowing it, but there are some people who are not familiar with Java. So I'm just covering like few of the Java basics, and then we will directly jump onto the Selenium example. So I'll create one variable. So I'll say int I equal to 1. Since we need to print the number from 1 to 10, so we are starting the I from 1. And we will be using the while loop first. So I'll create a while loop. The syntax of while loop says that while loop, then the condition, and then whatever you want to do inside this loop. Right. If the condition is true, then this loop will be executed. If the condition is false, then it will not be executed, right? So what we need to do, we need to print the number from 1 to 10 over here. So I'll say for, when I said int I equal to 1, over here I'll write I is less than equal to 10. So this loop will gonna run up till 10. Right. So first time it will check the condition. If 1 is less than equal to 10, it means the condition satisfied. Right. So it will come inside the loop, and we will write system.out.println I. Right. And in the next line, I'll increment the value of I. So what will happen? The first time the value of I is 1, the condition satisfied that I is less than equal to 10, and it will come inside the loop and it will print the value of I, that is 1. The next time it will going to increment the value of I, and next time the value of I will be 2. So over here it will be 2. Then it will check whether the condition 2 is less than equal to 10. Yes, then it will going to print the second number. And it will going to run till the time it meets 10. If it becomes 11, then 11 is less than equal to 10. The condition does not satisfy. That is a false condition. Then it will going to come out of the loop. Right? So I'll just save it and run this. And you can see the result that is being printed over here is 1 till 10. So I printed the value from 1 till 10. This is a very basic example, right? But based on this example, our next example of Selenium is dependent, right? So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to print the same thing using the for loop. So in for loop, I'll say for in. The syntax of for loop is like this. In for loop, we know up till where we need to run and from where it starts, right? So I'll say for in x equal to 1. So x is starting from 1. And then I'll say x is less than equal to 10. And then x plus plus. And here I'll print the value of x. So I'll just put a separator over here. For loop. And I'll just run this and it will going to print the same numbers. Now in case I need to print a table of 2 or a table of 3, I'll just say x into 2. And I'll just run this and it will going to print that table of 2. So what is happening over here, the very first time the value of x is 1, right? So 1 is less than equal to 10, yes, then it will come over here, then it will do 1 into 2. So it has printed 2. The next time it will going to increment the value of x by 1. Again, it will say, then the next time x will become 2, then 2 is less than equal to 10, yes, then it will say 2 into 2 equal to 4, right? So this is how it will going to run, and the loop will going to run up till 10, so that it has printed the value of this table from 2 till 10, so 2 into 10 equal to 20, right? Another basic example. Now, what I'm going to do, if I have some value, let's say I have written int value equal to 1. So when I have one value, I can store it inside a single a single data type, that is of an integer data type, right? Let's say if I have more than one value to store, right? In that case, I will be creating an array. So I'll create an array of int, and inside this, I'm going to store the values like 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. So if we have more than one value, we can store it inside an array. Now if I write system.out.println value 0, it will gonna print the first value, because the array index always starts from 0. So this is how an array index is prepared. Let's say I have some value, and over here, this is how an array is formed. So let's say the first value is over here, that is 1. The second value, third. third value 5th, then 6th. So this first value, the index of this value will be 0. It will always start from 0. And then 1, then 2, then 3, and then so on. Right. So if I need to print the first value from an array, what I'm going to do, I'll just say value 0, and this is going to print the first value from an array. I'll just put a separator over here. And I'll run this. You can see it has printed the value as 1. Now what if I want to print the entire values from this array? In that case, I will be using the for loop. Right? So I'll say for in, let's say I'll write y equal to 1. Y equal to 0, because the array index starts from 0, and I'll say y is less than equal to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 values in this array. I can also say y is less than 5 and then y plus plus. And here it should print value. It should be 4 if we say y equal to, less than equal to. So if I write value y, and I'll save it. Okay, right? 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. Right? This one is from the previous one. This one. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. Right? Now, what if I don't know how many values are there inside this array? So I can use an attribute of this array. Instead of writing 5, I can say value dot length. Value dot length will gonna return the current length of this array. So what I'll do, if I save it and run this, it is going to print the same thing. And if I concatenate something over here, let's say the value at index plus y plus is plus the value. Now if I run this, so this plus operator is used for concatenation. So when I run this, the value at index 0 is 1, index 1 is 3, and then 4 is 7. Right. So these are very basic examples. Now on the basis of these examples, I'm going to show you the implementation of the same thing when we are going to automate something using Selenium RC. Right. So I'll create a new class now. And in this class, what I'm going to do, let me open up the browser. Let's say if I go to a website, wikipedia.org, on this website, you can see this drop-down element over here, right? So in this example, we are going to learn how we can automate a drop-down element on a web page. So what I'll do, I'll create a new class and give it a name as test drop-down, right? Over here, I'm going to copy the initial code from a previous class that we did yesterday. We need to first start the Selenium server, initialize the default Selenium, create the object of default Selenium, then start the Selenium session, open the window, maximize the window, focus the window. So these steps will gonna remain generic in throughout our examples. So I'll be just copy pasting it. Just add this, and instead of Gmail, I'll just copy wikipedia.org. Right. So what I need to do, I need to, yes, this is the RC code. Yeah, this is RC code. We actually, Neha, we are first of all learning the Java basics through RC. Then we'll straight away move to WebDriver, and our focus will only be on WebDriver. Right? We are just learning Java through the RC example. This is because if I just teach you Java, then that session will be really boring, and I want to make this session really interactive. So that is the reason of covering the Java example using Selenium RC, right? So that it will also gonna help you to make your base for automation, right? Because Selenium RC is very easy to understand. So till the time when we reach to WebDriver, we will be able to cover a lot of things. We'll be able to understand a lot of things, right? So what I need to do, I need to select some value from here. Let's say I need to select value as this, DANSK, right? So I want to select this value. What I'll do, I'll go over here. For typing, we have the method type. For clicking, we have the method selenium.click. Same way, for selecting a value, we have a very simple method that is selenium.select. And in this select method, it accepts two arguments. One is the locator. So locator is your XPath of this particular element. So you locate this element first. You'll just copy the XPath of this element. You'll paste it over here. And second one is your option. The option that you need to select, the value that you need to select will give the value as DANSK, right? So this is what you need to do in order to select the value from that dropdown. Now I'll run it. All right, just one moment. Okay, what if we don't know the value? If we don't know the value, we can select it on the basis of its index as well, or we can select on the basis of the attribute that is value. I'm going to show you that as well, right? So right now, it has selected the value as DANSK, right? So if you go to the main website of Selenium again, that is seleniumsu.org, I'm going to the Java doc that we have seen yesterday. We have seen the Selenium API. So on this Java doc, we'll search for Selenium interface. And the default Selenium class. And here, let's take a look at the select method. Select is over here. This one's there. Okay, this is the select method. Sure, Anand, you can ask the question. Okay. See, IDE, I have already uploaded a free video onto my website. IDE is like a very basic tool. I would suggest, you should not go for IDE because in companies, IDE is not in use. People who are working in Selenium, they're only working on WebDriver. They're not using that record and play, right? And to be very honest, In my 4 years of experience in Selenium, I've never tried using IDE in my project. Except for the training purpose, I never use IDE, right? Although I'll show you some of the examples, but right now we are covering Selenium RC. So later on, I'll cover some of the examples in IDE as well, right? All right. So over here in the select method, you can see we have other options. Let's say on this drop down, we have values like the values that are not in English, like this value, Hindi, or any other value, right? Or the values that are Japanese, Spanish, right? So how can I select this value? I cannot type this value inside Eclipse, right? So there is another option. If you take a look at this this element inside the Firebug, you can see that this element is inside a select tag, right? This is basically a select tag. And if you expand this select tag, so all the values are inside the tag named as option, right? So all these values are inside option tag, and against each value, there is an attribute assigned that is value, right? So in case you need to select a value like this, Hindi, you can just take the attribute HI, right? So over here, instead of writing it like this, I'll just say value equal to HI, and it will going to select the value as Hindi. So I'll just save it and run this again. Going to Wikipedia, and it has selected this value that we have given from the value attribute, right? Now, other options we also there are other options also available that we can also select the value based on the index. So let's say if you see over here, there is like index equal to 2. So the index will always going to start from 0. So if you give the second index, it is going to select the third value from that list, right? So these are all the options available which we can use in order to select values from a drop-down list, right? Now, the other thing I want to do in this drop-down list, I want to count the total number of values inside this list, and I want to extract all the values as well from this list. I want to print all these values in Eclipse from this list, right? So there is a method provided in Selenium RC for the same. And how that method they have created, so this element is inside a select tag, right? So whenever we need to get some value from a web page, like when we have used get title in order to get the title from a web page. When we have to get the text, we have used the method get text, right? Same way, when we need to get a value from the select option, these values are inside select tag and then the option tag. So the method will form like get select options. So we need to get all these options. So this is the method that they have created, the RC developers have created. So they have given the method name as Selenium dot get select options. And this method accepts only one argument, and that is the locator, right? So locator is the locator of that particular element. So I'll give it over here, right? Now these are more than one value. These are not like single value. I cannot store it inside a string in order to print it. I cannot store it like string value equal to this. Now I will be covering WebDriver as well. We are doing just initial examples on Selenium RC, and then we'll jump onto WebDriver. Right. So as I said, our focus will only be WebDriver. We are just building up the base. That's it. Right. So what I'm trying to do over here, if I say string value equal to this, so these are more than one value, right? It cannot be stored inside a single string variable, right? Neither I can, if I try to print these values by giving system.out.println, I will not be able to print all these values. So if I run this now, it is going to print nothing. So if we take a look over here, this is what it has printed. See, it has not printed anything over here. Now, in order to print these values, since these are more than one value, we need to store them inside an array, right? The array that we have seen in this example, we are going to use the same array over here. So what we are going to do, I'll remove the system.out.println from here, and I'll create an array of and give the variable value equal to this. Now, all the values, when it gets extracted, these values will be stored inside an array, right? And we have just seen that how we can print the values from an array, right? We're going to use the for loop in order to do that. So I'll create a for loop. I'll say for int I equal to, array will be started from 0. So I equal to 0 and I is less than. So here I don't know how many values are there in the list, but if I say value dot length, it will going to give the length of this array. It will going to run up till the length of this array, right? So I'll say I plus plus. And then I'll write system.out.println value I, right? I'll just save it and run this. And now if we take a look at Eclipse in our console, you can see all these values are printed over here. You can see some question marks as well over here. These question marks are because Eclipse only understands the language that is written in English, right? It cannot understand any other language. That is why when we have printed it, it has only printed the values in English, and rest it has printed question marks against those values. But it has extracted all the values from this drop-down list, right? Now, if I want to find how many total number of values are here in this list, so what I'll do, I'll just print total values in drop-down list are plus value dot length, right? So this is the value dot length which we have seen in the previous example, like this. This is what we are going to give over here, value dot length. Value dot length will let us know how many values are there inside this array. It basically gives the length of this array, right? So if I run this again, and if you take a look over here, in the console, you can see total values in the drop-down list are 46. right? So there are total 46 values inside this drop-down list, right? Any questions so far? Okay, Anand is saying, could you please repeat the loop logic which is used so far for array? See, we have seen in the previous example how we have implemented a loop over here. In case of an array, when the values are inside an array, in order to print the values from an array, we need to run a for loop because the array index starts from 0. We are starting it from 0 and then we are running it till the length of this array. And same thing we have implemented in the drop-down example as well. When the values are being fetched after giving this method, if you see the return type of this method, if you mouse over onto this method, you can see the developer that has created this method has given the return type of this method as a string array, right? So you cannot store this method you cannot store the value from these methods in a string or in any other variable. It can only be stored inside a string array. So when we have stored inside this array, all the values will get stored from the index 0 till the last index, right? And we do not know how many values are there. So we have run the loop starting from 0 and till the length of this array, right? Okay, I have another question from Priyanka. Selenium.select statement, why have you given value 5? We want to print all values present in dropdown. See, that was for the previous example when we have seen we have to print a value that is not in English. We can give the attribute value as well, right? So if you see over here in the drop-down list, every value has some attribute value assigned to it. Let's say if you need to print this value, you cannot type this value in Eclipse. So in order to, if you need to select this value, you cannot type this value in Eclipse. You cannot say selenium.select and you can give this value. In order to select this value in this drop-down list, you need to give the attribute value equal to FA. And what we will do if we want to count drop-down values, for example, if there are 10 drop-down values. Sorry, I didn't get your question. I mean, you want to count the values from all the drop-downs, or you want to count it from a particular drop-down? That is what we have done. We have count the values from this drop-down only. So if you manually count the values in this drop-down, you will see the count is 46. That is what we have done. What we have done over here, we have stored all the values from this drop-down in this array, and then we have printed it. You want numbers. Number we have already printed, 46. If you just wanted to print 1 to 46, then you can just print the value of I. It will only give you the number. Okay, what I can do, I'll say the value at number, then plus I is plus, right? So if I run this time, it will going to show that the value on this number is this, right? So is this what you are going to ask, Anand? All right. So if you take a look over here in Eclipse, you can see it's starting from 0 index is this, 1 is this, 2nd is this, 3rd, 4th, and it is printed from 0 till 45, right? And total 46 values. 0 to 45 is 46, right? All right. Okay. Okay. Any more questions in this example? Are you able to understand it?